Howdy doodly doo, and welcome to the Planet Gen X podcast. I'm Sean. That over there is Brian, and Joel is back with us again. How you doing, buddy, Joel?
Doing good, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, we're always happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. And guys, let me just say before we get started, please remember to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, leave us a comment. We've been getting quite a few lately, likes and comments and new subscribers. So we encourage you to please hit that subscribe button because it's free. It costs you nothing and it helps us out tremendously. So we thank you for it. Please do it now. Do it.
Do it now. Enjoy the comments.
That's right. So today we are talking Fallout, the TV show.
A little bit overdue, but
yes,
still within time frame, right?
Yeah, well, we've been wanting to get to it for a while, man, but just stuff keeps coming up, one thing after another, and it's like, oh my God, we're just gonna have to put it to the side because it just had to be that way, man.
Yeah, it's been a month plus since it came out, right?
Yeah, November 11th, and it's the 24th now of
April 11th.
April 11th. Yeah, what did I say? November?
November.
That would have been a really long time ago.
It's been a little time in the TARDIS he did.
Oh, shit. Right. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So, first of all, what a fantastic show. And we're covering the whole kit and caboodle. This isn't episode 1 or episode 2 or whatever. This is just our take on the whole thing, how we felt about it, and, you know, some stuff. I'm sure we'll talk about something. Something will come up, right? So Brian and I, before Joel joined us, have talked a little Fallout before the show came out. We've riffed off the trailers and stuff and speculated. Talked about Walton Goggins, who's my favorite character in this. I say one thing that I love that I noticed right away is that he's getting to do the old. Well, I know who he got it from. I wonder if he actually taught it to him, and that's the walk that he does as the cowboy that he is. It goes way back. It's Wyatt Earp's walk, and John Wayne used it, but Gary Cooper is actually the one who really made it famous. John Wayne got it from Gary Cooper, and shit, I can't think of the dude's name, and I can't believe him. Timothy Oliphant. There we go. Woo! I saved it. Yay! He had it for Deadwood. You know, he did it, and I am sure, being close as they are, having done Justified together, that he got it from Timothy Oliphant, or just got the idea.
Tim did it in Star Wars too, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about coming out the bar? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he did. He did the Deadwood walk for sure. I was very happy to see it, man. And I thought that Walton did a really good job with it. I was like, wow, man, he's got it down.
I mean, Walton is a pretty amazing actor if you've seen him do all of his stuff. You know, he went from, he's got his history of being in theater, right? But like most people remember him from Justified. That was like his big breakout role, right? Yeah.
It was pretty popular. When I get to my description, you'll see where I know him from. But I'm having memory problems myself. I had to go back and look at some of this stuff to make sure that I did see him there. And I was like, okay, I had to double check. But yeah, you're right. He's been around a minute.
Right, he has. He's been on the scene, and he's a working actor. That's what he is.
He's been around
but
a while.
he has. I honestly think I don't know what it was, but some success. Like after Justified, it was just kind of like whatever, and then like he started working, I think, with what's his face from Eastbound and Down.
I don't know.
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride. Yeah.
Doing Vice Principals, and then did Righteous Gemstones and all this other stuff. But I don't know. It kind of felt like maybe he took a break or something there for a little while, or took it easy, and then just like everything at once exploded for him.
Yeah, well, he deserves it. Good actor.
Yeah.
Joel, what did you have? You said you had something about him.
Yeah. I'll head through it. When I get to Walton, you'll be like, oh, wow, or something like that. I know Brian's a big fan of voice acting, so we're even going to hit that just a little bit too. But let me start from the beginning. Fallout, the Amazon original show, 8 episodes, 2024 release. It is not a 1-to-1 game adaptation. They didn't write it that way. They didn't want it to be that way.
Right.
It is set in the future.
Yeah.
It's directed by Jonathan Jonah. He's gone by on the set. Jonathan Nolan, brother of Christopher Nolan, started with Memento. Jonathan Nolan started with Memento. It's one of his big movies. Brian and I have a history with that movie. 3 episodes credited for Jonathan Nolan. He did the first one, the second one, and the third one. So that first little bit you see in the series, that's Jonathan Nolan's direction. Everything else is either a 2-episode or less director with somebody else. But he didn't even come back for the finale. So Jonathan Nolan, he is involved, and he's part of the showrunner. When I'm guessing, I'm not there on set, but I'm guessing he's part of the showrunners, which include Graham Wagner as the comedy writers, and he's amazing. And then Geneva Robertson Dworet, and I hope I didn't butcher that. But yeah, it stars Ella Purnell, which you'd think, geez, I've never seen this girl before. You may have. She stars as Lucy McLean in the story. She is a voice actress on Invincible. She plays Jane. She is in Star Trek Prodigy. The wife and I watched that. She plays Gwen, so she's a voice actress there. Okay. She was a voice actress in Arcane. She played Jinx. She's in Army of the Dead as Kate Ward. But the first time the wife and I saw her, it was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. That's hard to say. Thank you, Tim. Okay. That's Tim Burton movie. She played Emma, which was the water girl, and she had the heavy weight on. I call it the water girl, but she went down to the sunken ship and blah, blah, blah. That was in 2016. So we've seen Ella before. She's had big roles with big directors. Maximus, Aaron Moten, I guess is how you say his name. He's the guy in the suit. Most of the show. I guess, yeah, most of the show.
Can I stop you before you move on too far? Because I wanted to say something about her real quick. Brian mentioned one time about her looking like, or reminding him of Shannon Doherty. After he said that, it's not. She sounds exactly like her, man. Like, know how I have an ear for these, having a definite affinity.
She
for
looks
voice
a little bit like her,
myself.
but does sound more like her than she looks.
It's the hair, the big eyes, and the voice is dead on. It's amazing. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't remember ever seeing her in anything, so that's interesting. But sorry, you were talking about Maximus, though.
It's all right. I knew we were going to stop every once in a while, but I'll try to put my finger on the place. Aaron Moten, who plays Maximus, he did do some things before this, some prior things. He did a thing with Will Smith as well, but he didn't really have a breakout role. This I would consider to be his breakout role. Yeah, I would say this is really helping his career boost.
I IMDb to him as well, and I saw he didn't have much going before this, so this is his break. So I like him.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, he is classically trained, so he does have some theater background that may not have been mentioned. I may be mistaken, but I want to say I saw that in his bio.
He reminds me of somebody, but I don't know who.
He's done
I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything I've seen him in prior to this. So that's why for me, this is his breakout role. For me, the first time viewer. But it's maybe for a lot of people, I don't know. And I watch a lot of TV.
Yeah.
Anyway, going on, Walton Goggins, Cooper Howard / the Ghoul. He is the Ghoul. Although there's a lot of ghouls in the show, he is the Ghoul. This is just the way it is. Baby Yoda is Baby Yoda for a reason. We know it's Grogu, but it's Baby Yoda, Right. But so Cooper Howard, the Ghoul, is played by Walton Goggins. His past credits that I know recently, that I all the way back to, he's done so much. But you may have heard his voice. As
House of a Thousand Corpses.
He's definitely in that. Yeah, he's a voice actor on Invincible. He plays Cecil Stedman in Invincible. That's 2024. It's a very popular show. It's why I mentioned it. So he and Ella both are voice actors on that show. Justified City Primeval was 2023. Justified 2010 to 2015. And then for me, I cannot believe this. He played himself in the first 10 to 15 roles of his life, and he played as Walt Goggins. The first time I heard him, Wing Commander 4, The Price of Freedom with Mark Hamill. That was in 1995, and that was a long time ago. But that was, he plays the voice of like one of the bad guys, the bad pilots in the
like
cutscenes in the video game. Amazing. Well, I don't know. I don't think I can't remember what they called him back then. You got to forgive me. That was me when I was in night.
Yeah, I know.
That was a while back.
Long time ago, man.
In any case, that's Walton. So he has a rich history of a lot of other movies. He is, as you said, a working actor. That is very accurate and amazing. That he dates back to 1995 for me. So that's crazy.
I think that before we move on from him, I think that what's that show? Sons of Anarchy. I think it was that show. He played a prostitute. And he had fake titties and everything. And man, like it looked so real. It was crazy. It was. I
mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but I didn't watch Sons of Anarchy, so I couldn't tell you.
It was incredible. It was incredible.
I have to say I missed it.
Yeah, you would. You need to see if we can find a clip of that or something at some point. That would be pretty cool.
That'll get you banned.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So next up we have Moises Arias, and I hope I pronounced this right. I listened to a couple interviews with him. I believe it's pronounced Arias. It's Arias. Moises Arias.
It's not Moses, huh?
Nope, it didn't. I don't know. I don't know how he references it, but I've heard him called that. So he is the B story lead actor in the show. And what I mean by that, for the layman term of it, is you have one subplot of this way with the Brotherhood. You have another one going this way with Ella's character, Lucy. And then Moises is our main character that happens in the vault. He's left in the vault. He stays in the vault. And we're led through several episodes by Moises. And
Disney kid, right?
He's what?
A Disney kid? Isn't that where he started?
I believe he's on Hannah Montana. Yeah, as one of his early bits. I believe so. In any case, he plays Norm McLean, brother of Lucy McLean. And he is, in my history, I first saw him, I didn't see him at Disney. I saw him in Nacho Libre with Jack Black back in 2006. And then more recently, I saw him in Ender's Game with Harrison Ford in about 2013.
Like that.
So that was Moises, and that's he's really underrated. His story is really amazing. He's a good actor. That whole bit that he's got is well worth it. It was worth it to do that. And our last up for me is I guess summing up the main cast, Kyle MacLachlan, which plays Hank McLean, the dad of Lucy and a
great actor,
Norm. He is only in 2 episodes, and that's okay. He's missing from the IMDb under Hank McLean, which is weird, and he's not listed by his name. But if you look, he's under Overseer Hank McLean. I don't know why they put Overseer in front of it, but whatever. He started with Dune with me, the absolute film legend. Kyle has been a god-awful amount of things I've watched. I mean, he's the legend, so he's worth watching, again.
All that stuff.
And then this, of course, is the Dune. The Dune back in the 80s.
The sleeper has awakened!
Right.
Yeah.
Fallout itself is based on one of the greatest video games of all time. It's the story of the haves and the have-nots in a world and when there's almost nothing left to have. 200 years after the apocalypse, the general denizens of luxury fallout shelters are forced to return to the incredibly complex, gleefully weird, and highly violent universe waiting for them above. This is Amazon's description. I'll give them credit. They gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars on Amazon. IMDb gives it an 8.5 out of 10. It's listed as an action, adventure, animation drama. For a Gen Xer like me, I categorize things a little different. Brian knows this. To me, it's science fiction fantasy. This is the way I would have found it in a Blockbuster video with a sign above the counter back with the VHS tape many years ago. It would have been in the science fiction fantasy section. I don't know why Amazon wants to classify it as action, adventure, animation, drama, but okay, whatever. It's ranked number 2 on Amazon's most watched list. It Rings of Power season 1 holds the trophy for that one right now.
I can believe that.
It's
running number 1 for the year on Nielsen.
It is running. It is running number one for the year. It was in the lead until this week when Outer Range with Josh Brolin just came out, and now everybody's watching Outer Range.
Right.
Overall, that's the synopsis of the show. The game itself, which the show draws from, is actually made by a different gentleman. He made it in '94. His name was Tim Kaine. And he's got his own YouTube channel as well.
His fingerprints are on this as well.
They didn't really. I don't think they went after him for lore though, but they did take a lot of inspiration from a lot of different places.
Right.
You can see what they intended to do with the show was to pull from all they could. So you'll see bits from Vegas. You'll see Fallout New Vegas. You'll see you'll see Fallout 1 through 4. You'll see Fallout Tactics. You'll see posters from Fallout 76 that are hung on the wall in the vault. It's because this show takes place after. So we've discussed this before, Sean, where it's good that, Doctor Who is failing at this. Star Trek has got it right. Everything got better when they went to the future, when they went on a different path with the lore. You can't have that many complaints. There are lore complaints from the crowd, of course there are, and there's things that don't match up, and that's okay in this TV show. Fallout itself is happening in the future of the franchise, so it's not that it's deeply disgusting or off or woke or it doesn't dip into any of these political categories of modern day writing that we're seeing in these other shows,
which was nice.
Right. But I think the biggest two complaints that I've seen, and I hear it over and over, there's some lore errors like Maximus saying when they're crossing the bridge that the two people crossing on the other side of the bridge, when they have a little standoff bit, this is a little bit of a spoiler, sorry, they're saying they're fiends. The fiends are actually not cannibals in the video game. You learn this in New Vegas. Fiends are drug users or chem abusers, and what that is chemical abuse in some way. And they're chem fiends, right? Yeah, they're chem fiends. They're not actually cannibals, or they don't propose that they are in the video games. And so people were upset that but who knows? In 100 years or 200 years or whatever, maybe the chem fiends are not cannibals. I don't know. How do you know that? They may address it in a future script. Right. They may not, but we're not supposed to dip and dive into it that heavily. The other big thing is the time. In the beginning of the show, they list a chalkboard in one of the school classrooms with the time, and everybody's got to bring it up. And I found an interview with Nolan and a couple of the others, and they were saying all this is intended. And I was like, okay, well, I'm good. I'm done. So I really don't have to talk about that. But it was all about Shady Sands getting destroyed in 2277.
Yeah,
it didn't fit the lore well, and it was wrong. A bomb dropped in L.A. at the wrong time. It was supposed to be, I think, nighttime, not daytime. I think it was middle of the day when you see Walton Goggins hold up his thumb and put it over. I think it's Fallout 3. It dropped at 9:47 a.m. In Fallout 4, New York and Pennsylvania, it got hit at 9:42 a.m. Boston was hit at 9. I mean, all this matters to the geekdom, but as the average viewer, it's perfectly fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Outside of that, it's something that they said they wanted to address, and we'll get some more of it in season 2. We are having a season 2. We're going to get one.
Yeah.
The wonder drug ghoul cure. Absolutely no lore in the game whatsoever, and they addressed that on a panel when asked the question. So yeah, they're probably going to write about it. We're probably going to see something about it. Although I'm not a writer, so I can't tell you.
Bro, it'd be cool if they could incorporate that into a future game, man. That would be pretty cool.
The Brotherhood is out of place as well. It's not super religious. It is kind of fanatical, but it's not super religious. Or religious fanatical for that matter. They have censors.
Religious parallels with the titles.
Right. They have censors like the Catholic Church does, swinging, cans of what we think would probably be incense, but who knows what they have in the wasteland.
But ordained into the Brotherhood. There's a lot of stuff like that.
It could be some plot thing. Now, like I said, I'm really telling you all this stuff for the people that have never played the games. The biggest thing you might want to remember is Philly. When they talk about Philly, in real life, for us, the three of us, even though we played the game, and we may recall it, we may not, but Philly is actually spelled Filly.
Yeah.
It's not spelled like Philadelphia. It doesn't mean Philadelphia. So if you get lost while you're watching the show and you say, hey, we're headed to Philly, you're thinking, geez, aren't you in LA?
Landfill.
Yeah, it's Philly actually means it might get lost in pronunciation or accurate to somebody who's never seen it, but the town of Philly, Filly, is called that because it is built upon a landfill. It has nothing to do with Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as far as I can tell, at all. But that might help out, some of the stuff, with plot holes, I guess, you may feel the writers, didn't quite cover it, but what they did cover, I mean, is amazing. So that was the short and sweet. That gives you the description from me with the characters. And I can tell you before they review it, I can tell you the show absolutely deserves 9 out of 10. I don't know why I got 8.5.
Right. I was thinking the same thing.
5. It's just ridiculous.
It's definitely
at least, or take it up to the next point.
9.5.
The only reason I won't give it a 10 out of 10 is because I don't know. I don't know what you expect of a 10 out of 10, but it didn't quite hit that. It gets 9, 9.5, totally all day.
Right. But now that's all I've got about the statistics. So now if you want to go into something, something else, you let me know or ask me a question. But I do have a couple of fun facts you might want to hear, but I'll tell you about them at the end.
I want to throw a couple of things in real quick. When you talked about the games, there was a thing back then that was before memes that were in games and movies and TV shows. And these were pop culture references. That's what we had before memes. And Fallout was dense with them, all the games.
Yes.
And you see it in this too.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing to mention.
Okay. Well,
service to the older fans.
I can tell you the bit about Tim Kaine. The game didn't come out till 1997, and as everybody knows. But as you know, games take years to produce. He started in 1994. It began as a game engine based on a tabletop role-playing game called GURPS. And many people are not going to know what that is. But after Steve Jackson's games objected to Fallout's violence, Tim Kaine and designer Christopher Taylor created a new character customization scheme. Interplay is the name of the company that had it. And initially gave the game very little attention. And really kind of shook, they were like, no, I'm not going to do this. And if you ever look at the history, you'll see the boss back then took the game home for the weekend, called Tim Kaine, continuously over the weekend and said, how do you get into here? How do you do this? How do you get in the brother? I love this game. And then he came back to work the next week and he was like, get the marketing team. I want the marketing team to try the game. So he got people in the company to check the game out. And he was like, we have to spend money on this. And so it eventually spent $3 million, but that was a bunch back then, and employed 30 people to develop it. Interplay considered Fallout the spiritual successor to its 1988 role-playing game Wasteland, and drew artistic inspiration from 1950s literature and media emblematic of the atomic age, as well as the films Mad Max with Mel Gibson, the early one, and A Boy and His Dog, which was an inspirational thing for Tim, which is Don Johnson and a dog traveling the wastelands. Crazy movie. And I mean, I had to watch it in film school. It is a crazy movie. The quests in the game were intentionally made morally ambiguous on purpose. And you see this today with Baldur's Gate 3, still, allowing you a path to choose. Back then, the three of us had books we could buy that were choose your own adventure.
Yeah,
this was a big deal for us. So having a game like this coming out, going, hey, we can choose our own path. We can be good. We can be evil. I want to be evil. Let's see how this goes. And
they got a little nuclear device I can arm.
Yeah, there's a mini nuke over here I can buy in the shop. What am I going to do with this? After 3.5 years of development, Fallout was released in North America in October of 1997. I know exactly where these two guys were in 1997. They know exactly where I was.
Yep.
I bought like 6 copies of the game back then, and we all got to play it. I did that because we had a LAN, and everybody wanted to play. But yeah, it's one of those. That's the base of the game, and that was its original inception. But the one of the things,
a big divide between Fallout fans and Wasteland fans. For those that didn't know.
Yeah, that's true. There was. I mean, it was
like
it was a
Megadeth
crazy
or
amount.
Metallica. Pick one.
Right. But something in the show that you might notice, I only put down a couple of noteworthy Easter eggs, and one of the Easter eggs I put in here was because what I just told you in the final episode when Lucy, this is kind of a spoiler, not really, but it's when because you would know it as a anybody else. I mean, if I don't tell you, you're not going to know. In the final episode when Lucy tells her,
let's say that just in case.
It's a little bit of a spoiler. In the final episode when Lucy tells her father to enter the code for Moldaver, the code he inputs is 101097. This is October 10th, 1997, the actual release date for the Fallout video game. So if you didn't know that,
That's
now
cool.
you know. And the other little spoiler, which I had to check because I was like, really, this happened? I didn't see it myself, but connect 2 and 2, somebody on the internet. At the beginning of each episode, the Fallout logo fades out and it reveals the fate of somebody and how they're going to die in the episode. And I was like, what? I had to go back and look. And so if you see the Fallout logo on fire, somebody's going to be on fire in the episode. If you see it get shot with bullets, somebody's dying from bullet spray.
Nice.
I had no idea. So like I said, it was a noteworthy Easter egg. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So
I like stuff like that, man. So we'll have to look forward in season 2 and see if they do the same thing.
Right.
I do have a question about 2 cast members that you didn't mention earlier, and this is going to be hell for you later.
You be careful, because if you start mentioning names or you start dropping names in here, you're going to ruin some of the show.
Well, first off is one of them is a ruin. It's the brain that we run.
Yes, man. Yeah, I don't know if you want to go there. Give people a chance. We could always make a rebuttal episode.
You don't have to reveal who they're playing, but just the fact that they're in there, and also the guy in the argument that Maximus breaks up in the power armor that runs away. Him.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying.
If you bring those up,
no.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it because I can, but I'm not going to do it. But there are
that guy, by the way.
Yeah, and a lot of people. Well, he plays that kind of character.
I've never liked him. He's
you're not supposed
actor.
to. This is like killing. What's his name? Sean Bean. He always dies. Is it Bean?
I was the first to realize that, and then it became like this whole internet thing. I was like, man, they figured it out finally.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you, there are plenty. There are references that go back to the late 70s and early 80s for actors and actresses that are in the show. And one of the coolest things is some of these people have been interviewed or talk about it online that I've seen, and they were all fans. They were all fans of the game, or they're fans of the show, or they played it, and they were into it, man. These guys, the reason it's scoring that high is because it's not very political in our real world society today.
Yeah.
And
that's huge.
Yeah, that's a big step today. And the characters are, you either love them, you hate them, you want to hug them, you want to kiss them, you want to kill them. You've got moments that you're seeing all this stuff.
They're robust. They're robustly written. They're very robustly written.
And we don't know anything about their history. And there are fan favorites from the games missing. That's okay. It's all right. I mean, I think I heard one reviewer say it needs to breathe. Let it breathe. Like you open a fine wine, let it breathe.
Right? Like most of it, we've hit the big parts in this first season. We know that Lucy is a vault dweller. We know Maximus comes from the Brotherhood. He was from a town, right? And we get that whole story. We know about Coop, right?
Right.
So we do know their backgrounds
a little bit. Of what we've seen, yes, but we don't know. We don't know a ton about them. They had some flashbacks, but we don't know a ton. I can't go into it without spoiling a lot of it, but we don't know a ton that's been given to the normal person to see. But I believe there really isn't that much disconnect between somebody who's never played the game and being able to enjoy the show, and somebody who has played the game, and there's a level of that too. Who can pick apart very little. And as somebody who, like us, we've been around since the beginning, we can pick apart everything, and you're like, oh my God, and the suspension of disbelief doesn't have to be, for me, as extended, Sean, as extended as Star Trek or Doctor Who, which is, I'm like a lemming. I go to the cliff in another video game, a lemming, go out to the cliff and then dump off the edge, which I have to let my suspension of disbelief just go and let it go.
Yeah. Well, my wife liked it a lot, and she doesn't know anything about Fallout. So it really, it translates, man. I mean, like it does exactly what it needs to do to get to people that don't have any idea, that it's a game or anything.
It cries back to something that I've always, and Joel will back me up on this, I'm sure he's a big fan too, practical effects were great.
Right.
And they had a great blend of the practical and the special.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the best things that you can do. And I don't remember seeing a whole lot of close-up practical, right?
You do see some, and
some,
you're
not a whole lot.
Well, I can just tell you, but it's going to spoil it a little bit for people. Some people have a problem with it too. I don't know. Do you call it the grouper? What's the fish thing? What's the fish called?
Yeah.
Gulper. See, I'm getting grouper. What am I saying? So the gulper is CGI in the water, and it's pretty good CGI. It's not bad. When he gets up on the onto the deck and he opens his mouth and you see all the, what, I'm not going to spoil it. That's practical. I didn't know that. So the mouth part is practical effect. And I thought, wow, so they really thought it through. They're going, we're going to get really close. Do we really want to show CGI when it gets this close? No, It's a careful balance between one and the other. I think it did. Kudos, man. This deserves it. They crossed the T. They dotted the I. You not giving it half a point, to say 9 out of 10. That's 4 out of 5. And what's wrong with you?
They finally figured out how to merge the two and be happy. Everybody just thought it was all going to be CGI from now on, and all the model makers and all the practical makeup effects guys were just not going to really have much to do. Well, years have passed, and now we know that the two together is the best option. That's the way to go.
Of course. And it's always been that way.
Agreed.
Yeah, computer's just a tool to enhance.
When I looked at the shot list and the production notes, I did notice I didn't see a lot of volume. And I didn't see of the orifice, as Sean likes to put it. I did not see a lot of volume. I saw they traveled to location. They went to big, vast deserts. They went to, man, they had, I'll tell you about Walton in a minute, but they had Walton in what we call them, quarries. They're down here. They're limestone quarries in the south. Yeah. So we call them quarries. But they had him in the middle of a quarry in like 97 to 100 degree weather. This is not normal, they
makeup. And
he's from Alabama. He's used to it.
Stuff.
Yeah. And one thing most fans are mad about is there wasn't a third camera crew. There was, an A roll and a B, but where was the documentary crew? And I'm a big documentary guy, so I kind of miss it too. There's not really a documentary on Fallout, although there should have been. And they should have had somebody come around. And Amazon's got its clips and things like that, but people want to see how the vault was made. Yep. How big is the vault set? How big is this and that and the other? And you kind of see a little bit in the beginning of the show, but that's about all you're going to get. You'll see a mock-up vault that they've got built on a soundstage. It plays into the lore of the TV show, and you're supposed to see as it goes along. Spoiler alert, but that's it. You're not going to see the high detail of what's going on. But it's. It's gotten, it deserves everything, all the recognition you could give it. It is easy to watch. It is easy to binge. You need to take the time
to rewatch.
Oh God. Yeah. You can rewatch. Like I said, I'm going to have to go back and look at I'm going to have to, see the logo in the beginning. Right. Just, I want to see that part, I want to see really that. I learned this, I've got to check all this.
Yep.
But as a final note for me, I can tell you, one of the cool things about the show is it's been over for a little bit now, and they have these FYC events. And if you don't know what an FYC event is, it's the Oscars has them. Amazon has them. I think Netflix
For
has
your
them.
consideration.
Yes, sir. So it'll be a 4-year consideration event. One was held at Saban Media Center, North Hollywood, California, on May the 9th, 2024. A guy from Deep Geek Media on YouTube covered it. It's close to a 30-minute event. And you'll hear most of the cast is there. Moises is not there. I think Moises is in New York. I'm not sure why he wasn't there. But the rest of the cast is there, and Nolan's there. And you'll see all the showrunners as well. You'll see the comedian guy, and I mean it's worth it, But you don't see the whole cast, but you see the main. You see the main cast. Yeah. But I'll try not to butcher this, but it's about that quarry that we just talked about. Nolan is saying Goggins' first day, he turned down the cool suit. Now, the cool suit, folks, is the suit that they run cables through with fans, and they're trying to keep you cool so you don't have a problem, turning into like a cooked cookie inside one of these costumes.
It's got water running all through it.
Right. So Nolan is saying, sure, yeah, he's a tough guy. I understand. That's why he said no. So Goggins said, no, I don't need a cool suit. I'm good, man. Nolan said, huh?
He's conditioned to extreme environments like that.
Right. Nolan's saying the location where they were shooting was extremely hot, like 97 degrees or more. And Goggins says he breaks in on Nolan's conversation. And he said, I was an idiot. and then Nolan explains, he said the prosthetics he used on his face are very tight. It's intricate. It's made to make Goggins' face look smaller for the ghoul. Mm-hmm. Nolan thought, the first day on the set, his first day with him, and he said he's crying. And he thought he was crying on the set from like an anxiety of being his first day on the set. And he walks up to Goggins and he tells him, hey, man, don't worry. It's going to be great. You're going to kill it. The show's going to be great. And Nolan realizes he wasn't crying after he was sweating out of his eyeballs. And Goggins looks up at him and he says, I'm not nervous. I'm fine. I don't have any, there's nothing wrong with me, that kind of thing. And then Goggins said, Nolan walked up to him and he said, are you crying? And Goggins said, no, I'm not crying. And then Nolan takes his hand up to his eye and pushes on the prosthetic, and water just comes pouring out of Goggins' eye. And then you see Goggins looked at Nolan and he said, and then he looks back at the audience and he holds the mic up and he goes, I got the cool suit the next day.
I bet he did.
So, yeah. And then I know Moises in an interview was asked if he took anything home from the set. He said no. He got in trouble for taking pictures on the set, but he said no. He would have taken home one of the suits and a Pip-Boy if he could, the electronic device that they get all their information from. But he said if he could have, he would have, but he didn't. But he did get in trouble for taking photos. They chided him for taking photos of the set, and I don't know why. This is what I was telling you about.
They were obviously trying to be very secretive. Yeah.
I think our season 2 is going to have some stuff in it that they're going to use from the season 1. All this leads me to believe this. I don't know that this is a fact, but yeah, it's what it seems like. You'd want to keep it private. I mean, I can remember when Star Wars kept everything private, but they changed the name of the script and
Blue
the people.
Harvest,
Oh yes, I mean this is a big deal. This is a big thing. So all this makes sense. All ducks are in a row. The show deserves all the praise you can give it. It's doing well in a sea of, we're getting a gem here and there, and this is definitely a gem for me. So that's it. That's all I got.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah, well, Adam,
season 2 better have bats.
It may. You never know.
I got to hear that sound at some point during the series, or otherwise I'm going to be very upset.
Most people were.
Adam Savage had some stuff on the Pip-Boy. There's some guys that are designing. They had designed one already, an older one, and they're working on a new one, and they had a lot of different iterations of it that they were showing off, and they had the actual one from it was a working hero prop, and they have iPhones in them. That's what the screen is.
Yeah,
it's just an iPhone.
Actually, when I first saw them, I wasn't super impressed with the Pip-Boy, but as the show went on, as like I saw the performance with it on the wrist and like how it incorporated into the outfits and everything, I am a fan. I'm sometimes purist in like how certain things are represented, and it felt like it wasn't quite what you see in the games, in my opinion, but it worked really well. Apparently It was not problematic for the actors, which is a big plus.
Yeah, well, the one they had, man, you could barely open it. The girl would have to slide her wrist up in it for them to get it around her wrist. So yeah, they were molded quite tight to the actor, but they were pretty neat. I mean, like, I wasn't married to any one idea, but I'm not, like, I don't care. It looked good to me. Came across, it sold, it did what it needed to do.
Right.
Yeah,
it's important.
Yeah, I think, like I said, one of the reviewers I heard said the show needs to breathe like a fine wine. You gotta open it, and then you gotta let it breathe, and then see if it's gonna make its budget, or if it's gonna make its fan base. If we're gonna have the budget for the next year, you'll know by episode 3 or 4. Are you hooked? Did you enjoy it? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
it's bingeable. It hit there. Amazon not doing a season 2 would be the most foolish thing I've ever heard of. I feel like
very foolish.
You've got a stellar amount of talent on this show.
They got 2 hot properties now, man, with the Lord of the Rings stuff and this, man. That's big for Amazon. Yeah. Big deal. So yeah, well, I would give it a 9 for sure. I think, what'd you say, Joel? A 9?
Yeah, I can't give it a 10 because I've played, unfortunately for me, I've played the video game, so I know some of the lore that's broke. So I can't give it a perfect score, but I can give it a 9. Absolutely.
9 is strong, man.
I don't understand why they didn't give it a 9 or a 4 out of 5 on the other shows. That's I think we go 5-star or whatever, but I don't know. Yeah, it deserves it.
Same.
Yep.
Yeah, 9. Let's go 9.
Yeah, I would say 4 stars out of 5, however you want to look at it. Yep. Or 4.5 even, I guess.
Right. Whatever. However you want to rate it. But like, I just can't give it a perfect score is the only reason I'm not giving it a perfect score. Otherwise, it's flawless. I don't know why I can't give it a perfect score. I can't tell you exactly why. But it was great. It was amazing. And maybe it's just the fact that it needs to breathe. Maybe after another season or 2, I'll be like, wow.
Right? Yeah, I mean, they could correct some of these things in my head that are going to be, I don't want to talk about them now because it'd be spoilers. If they lore correct in a little bit, and they watch that. I mean, I saw in the interview how much care they've kept to the lore and how specific they've done. They've done a really good job of covering as much as they could, and I think that's why it needs a second. You give it a second and let them get into it, and once they do, you'll be super happy. Fan favorites are there.
Some stuff that's happened, like the Community. When Dan lost the reins of Community, stuff like that. There's another perfect example that's eluding me at the moment, but when the showrunners change hands, when some kind of massive shift happens in the cast, that's what I fear. Or just a freaking Firefly moment, right?
I don't think we have to worry about that yet, so we'll see. But anyway, that's about it. I think we can wrap it up there and say that was definitely an episode full of good information. And guys, be looking out soon. We'll have the episode 9 of Discovery, our look at that, and I am going to definitely try and keep it just to the high points, man. And that was way too long with all that stuff last week. So we'll get back to just the nitty gritty. And until then, guys, remember, be excellent to each other. And as always, Brian, Joel, and I will see you on the flip side.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good one, everybody.
Peace out.